Hello, this is Daniel Mart, and today I am here with.
Eren Ozkural, writer-director of Runaway with me.
And Jody Slagle, a mere sci-fi fan.
And I'm here at the Miami Science Film Festival 2016, another interview. And yeah, we just recently came out of watching Runaway with Me, a fantastic film by Eren here.
Thank you very
And
much.
very fast, Jody, what were your thoughts on the film?
Oh my gosh, I love that film. He did an amazing job with the special effects,
Yeah.
as well as the storyline. Left me thinking. Probably going to be thinking about that for a while.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Like I commented earlier, it kind of gave me like a Blade Runner-esque feel, which I thought was pretty interesting. And can you just comment a bit on that?
Yeah, sure. I mean, I wasn't cribbing from Blade Runner in particular. Like, it wasn't intentional. But in both movies, there's a parallel where the city the movies take place in are very much, secondary or tertiary character. They're one of the members of the cast, essentially. So there's a lot of similarities in that way, for sure.
And can you talk about some of the themes that you used in your film?
Sure. The main kind of thematic backbone of the movie is determinism versus free will. It's, do we have any say over what we do, or is everything preordained for us? I got an interesting thing with that, actually. I could do a thought experiment right now that can prove that we have no way of controlling our own actions. On a purely intellectual way. Want to play that? Okay.
Sure. Let's see.
All right, you can play this at home as well.
Go ahead.
Raise your left hand. Okay. Now, why'd you do that? And why'd you raise yours as well? Oh, you raised your right hand. See? Why you did that was sound waves travel from my mouth, went in your ear, your brain processes all this stuff, and how you come on that decision goes back to, your brain chemistry, like what you ate, did you get some good rest, past experiences. If every time someone asks you to raise your hand, if you got a slap across the face, you'd be less likely to move your hand, wouldn't you?
Yeah.
So
Unless
all
you
these
really like that.
Yeah, well, there's that too.
Oh, please.
I'm kind of a rebel, so I'm like, nah, nothing.
Well, exactly, but all these things come from external stimuli that are beyond your control, and so many other things affect that, and other things affect that. So if you go through time backwards, assuming that time is linear, like a probability tree, then everything is preordained for us on a purely intellectual level.
Nice. And your thoughts on that would be?
I like that part of the movie too. I think I was most captivated by your use of the city, this beautiful city construction as like a character in the movie, not just a backdrop, but it helped make the movie what it was. Also, and I like the idea, like my question after the film, the concept of how much should we know? Can we know too much? Can we push too far?
As a species, I think that's a question that should be asked.
Yeah, and that's something I have to agree with, because in that film, it is intellectual, it does make you think deeper of its meaning. I do have to agree with him that is it preordained or not. So yeah.
But in terms of now, what I don't want this movie to come across as is science phobic. In so many movies, you have mad scientists doing things they shouldn't, and I guess in a way we have in this movie as well. But it doesn't come from, without spoiling anything, it doesn't come from a place of malice or science run amok. It's just simply the wrong person being in the wrong place at the wrong time.
Yeah.
But I think it's our duty as a species to explore as much as we can, using the scientific method of anything we can get our hands on. It's what separates us from the animals, and it's hopefully one day going to allow us to transcend being these ape monkey creatures, fighting over land and territory and resources. So I hope the movie didn't come across as science phobic.
It didn't. Not at all.
But no, there's definitely careful consideration that we should take.
Can you explain your thought process when you're initially making the movie while the actors are on stage, performing?
Yeah, of course. Well, in terms of writing the movie and creating it, I made it as if this was the only movie that I would ever get to make.
Okay.
And I didn't want to limit the scope and the vision for the movie, and I wanted to add in everything that I wanted to do as a filmmaker. Now, there's pitfalls that I could have fallen into, and I hope I haven't, in that it could all be disjointed and things won't work together and you won't have a cohesive story or a cohesive plot. There's a danger of that. I think I reined it in relatively well enough, but I basically took a mishmash of Korean revenge movies like Old Boy and John Boorman films and like George Miller movies like the original Mad Max, and kind of mash them together with some hard science fiction and up the scope. So
I mean, I commented on this earlier, and I told you were kind of confused initially. But I felt like it felt uncohesive at first, but it didn't feel disjointed. Just to explain to the viewers, what I mean by that is that sometimes the scenes, I don't like from a scene transition, from scene editing, it didn't feel right. However, they still told one cohesive story, which is there's a difference in my opinion between that. And I understand that you had a low budget for this, and it's not really something I'm gonna fault on it, but it is something that has to be said because nothing is perfect. And going back to that, do you think there's anything he could have improved upon?
I don't know about improving since I don't make films myself, but I think I asked you afterwards also if there was anything now at this point you'd have liked to add or to have expanded in the movie, because I was left kind of wanting to see even more.
Yeah.
Right.
I'm very happy you said that. I'm very happy you said that too. In terms of, I mean, obviously, no work of art or filmmaking is a marriage between art and commerce.
Yeah.
So no work of art is ever finished; it's abandoned. And of course, there's things that I would do differently. And whenever I watch the movie, there's things that I, of course, want to change. But also, I'm not the same person now that I was when I made the movie. Now, since we did have a low budget, like you touched upon, I did all the visual effects myself and composed and performed all the music myself as well. And these things take a lot of time. Especially I did all the visual effects in 4K, which in terms of like rendering times alone, just makes it last 4 times longer than HD. And I made it as big in scale as possible. The cost for that has been, it's taken 4 years of my life. Now, obviously, I'm not the same filmmaker I am now as I was back then. So there are things that I would do differently, and there's things I would love to expand upon that I originally didn't think of, but only after having watched the film 50 times that I go, oh, that's a nice thread that actually I would like to kind of see more of. But I'm very happy that you both said that it leaves you wanting more, and going to all these festivals, that seems to be quite the consensus. Everyone says, not everyone understands it, and some people do feel that a bit shaken by it, a bit disjointed by it. Like it's adrenaline fueled like 80-minute romp that just goes from like battle scenes to love scenes to space to desert wastelands. So it is shaken. It does shake people up. But I'm very happy when people say like it leaves them wanting more. Even if they felt disjointed, at least I've affected the audience somehow. I made them feel something.
I think aside from the visual perspective of it, I think the biggest element of it is the thematics behind it. Preordained destination versus free will. Love conquers all, stuff like that. I think that is the bigger outline message in this film. And then also, as I just touched upon, the visual effects. You said 4K. It's a crazy you like to do. They turned out pretty good. From what I saw, they turned out really good, to be honest.
I wish they had a 4K projection at this festival. I really would love for you to see it, like how it's meant to be seen.
Interesting. So
maybe someday.
Yeah. Austin, do you guys have a 4K projection at the festival?
I'm not sure.
Oh, we've got a DCP for it?
By next year?
Yeah.
Maybe.
So yeah.
The other thing, what you were saying a minute ago was making me think we're talking about some of the jarring nature of the film. I guess I interpreted that differently, maybe because I don't know as much about filmmaking, but what I felt from that was it in another way was helping me understand the nature of this future world that you were painting, and that it was a different place. It's a more desperate place. It's a place where your future's a little more iffy. Maybe options are more limited.
Yeah, definitely.
Than now. So.
Well, yeah, and in terms of the feeling of the movie and the pace of it, it's chock full. Like I'm gonna get lambasted for saying this, but it's so dense. If you guys watch Red Letter Media, you'll know what I'm talking about. But there's so much for the audience to take in, and the people who have seen it multiple times, they see different things that they kind of missed out on. The original cut of the movie was 120 minutes long.
Okay.
The kind of one of the far more closest to the final cuts was about 95 minutes long. The finished movie is 80 minutes long. There's nothing in there that's superfluous. Every single scene or every single bit of dialogue has a development and resolution either immediately after or further on in the movie. It's a very Spartan movie.
Yeah.
Like everything is there for a reason. There's nothing superfluous in there. Which, speaking of things like how I would do things differently or move on, I'm happy it's that way. But I think for my next film, I would like to explore something with a more relaxed pace and kind of let it breathe more. This, like, I was concerned that obviously it's a movie that has lofty themes, and not only is it talking about science and humanity and predestination versus free will, all these kinds of things, but I didn't want to bore the audience, and it's my first feature film, so I just wanted to make sure that the audience was, even if they're not into the science, that there's something that will make them feel something, like every 10 minutes. There's something that will jar them, or surprise them, or make them laugh, or it just make them feel and connect.
Okay. You said you're working on another movie.
Yes.
Movie right now. Can you explain a bit more about that?
Yes, I can. Without giving anything away, I mean, first of all, after this movie, I promised myself, and more importantly, my wife, that I would make something much simpler. So without giving anything away, this next movie, and I'm not like saying that I can achieve something this good or anything. Hopefully, but like
Getting an award.
But no. I am never gonna get one of those. But what I am aiming for in terms of tone and kind of feel, it's like Apocalypto meets 2001: Space Odyssey. So not exactly smaller in scale, like I promised.
It doesn't sound very small in scale, but
No.
maybe you can make it so.
Well, I just, I mean, you know what? Even if that takes another 4 years of my life,
Worth it.
well worth it, because I hate using this phrase. So to me, it's like overused, like YOLO or whatever, but like living the dream.
Yeah.
I did this really. I mean, I get to make my living making films and showing it to audiences around the world, like connecting with people like you and yourself, and hopefully you guys out there. And I couldn't ask for anything more. So even if I have to work another 4, 5, 10 years getting the next one made.
Yeah.
Well,
you said this was your first film, right?
First feature
Now,
film, yeah.
have you worked on anything else before this?
Yeah, I mean, in terms of, I directed a couple of TV documentaries, some in stereo 3D as well. I was an uncredited assistant on the 5th Harry Potter movie. I've done lots of freelance visual effects and music composing work and photography as well. So yeah, just kind of using my skill set to make a living. And
And this film, if I'm not mistaken, you want to explore a bit more with, I believe it's a comic book series and a video game?
The video game is already made, and it's available on the iOS App Store called Super Runaway with Me, only 99 cents or 79p if you're on my side of the Atlantic. And in terms of the story of the movie, now, I know we keep going back to this, but the whole free will versus determinism thing, I don't want to like overrate that point, but what the game does that the movie doesn't do is it uses the advantages of that medium to, rather than ape the movie, add something else to it. If you guys are familiar with BioShock or any of the games of Hideo Kojima, which I'm sure your viewers are, there's a very big kind of underlying factor in those games about player responsibility and having the player's actions be called onto account, for the player to be accountable for their actions. Or if you play things like Spec Ops: The Line. So we've taken that, and in the game, there's a number of choices that you can make, or maybe you can't actually make them. I don't know. You have to play the game to find out. That actually leads you along the storyline of the movie, or lets you diverge from it slightly. And also, the game is incredibly difficult to play. Like, it's really difficult on purpose. If any of you played the old side-scrolling shoot 'em ups, like Super Star Wars on the SNES, or Star Wars on the NES, or like Bionic Commando, like all those Capcom games, has that same difficulty level where you have to play the levels over and over again and kind of know where the enemy patterns are, how to defeat the boss.
I think it's really interesting that not only were you able to make a video game out of it, but that you're possibly able to add a bit more detail to the video game to expand it more. And what are your thoughts on that?
Gives you some choices. It sounds like you've got some maybe somewhat alternative paths you can explore besides just what was in the movie.
Yeah, it kind of expands the universe, like makes it feel more lived in.
Yeah. So maybe you've given me what I was saying earlier. I want more. That's a way to get more without necessarily having to be another film.
Yeah, that's true.
Now, which one came first, the video game idea or the movie idea?
Oh no, the movie. Like the movie was its own thing. It's the only thing. The video game came about firstly because when I was doing the credit sequence for the movie, which features locations from the movie. So when you see like an actor's name, it kind of shows an 8-bit or like actually more accurately a 16-bit representation of like the main location you see them at or something to do with them.
Yeah.
Making that was so much fun. And after the movie was done, when we started our festival rounds, I missed some sadistic part of me missed sitting in front of a computer, 16 hours a day, 6 days a week working on something like that. So I decided, you know what, I'll just learn how to develop video games and make it my own. I mean, we live in this fantastic age where the barrier of entry onto making things like movies and video games is so low. There is zero excuse just to sit at home and do nothing. Like, if you have any dreams, if you really want to make something, whether it's a comic or movies or a game, it's the perfect time. I mean, for example, I'm glad you guys enjoy the visual effects. I never studied for that. I never studied visual effects at school. I studied directing at the University of Westminster, and I just taught myself visual effects through resources available online, some free, some paid. We live in this amazing time where we have the Library of Alexandria in our pockets and we can communicate to each other. So no excuses, guys. Just go do what you got to do.
I got a question for you based on that. Building on that, a lot of us are afraid to. Maybe we want to write a story.
Yeah.
Maybe we want to make a film or something else. How do you? Oh yeah, it sure is. No, they can't see that, can they?
Not
on the bridge.
So
what advice would you give to someone who wants to write a story, who wants to write a screenplay, who wants to make a film, to maybe get beyond? I think what stops us, a lot of us, is the fear.
Yeah.
The fear of, well, it's not going to be good enough, nobody's going to want to see it, or...
I think that's just something people have to overcome, like criticism and judgment. I think that's just something you have to overcome, and even if it's not even for the simplest things, like asking someone out, for example, you have to overcome fear just to do that.
Yeah,
you know what
it's
I mean?
a risk.
Yeah,
it's a risk
every risk is worth taking.
My advice to that is not be fearless. It's to embrace the fear, feel it for all it's worth, and just go ahead with it regardless. Like look, there's no one who wouldn't want to be courageous,
Yeah.
And being courageous doesn't mean you don't feel fear.
Right.
Being courageous is feeling fear and going ahead anyway.
Mm-hmm.
And just go ahead, do it, whatever you want to do. Yeah, you're going to get criticisms, and the first things you do are probably going to be terrible, and the 50th thing you're going to make is probably going to be terrible, but you're going to be learning it, you're going to be getting better, and just it's also not about the destination. Not everyone is an Orson Welles who makes Citizen Kane as their first movie and is a genius that rewrites the entire landscape of filmmaking or of whatever medium you want to make. It's more. I lost my train of thought there. Sorry. Do you do jump cuts in your videos?
Nah.
Yeah, but you're talking about it being a journey, not just I make up my mind today. I want to make films and assume that my first film is going to be a riotous success, or it's going to be everything I wanted it to be. No. It's a learning process.
No, and also, and this is something that I come back to. Like I don't know, maybe I'm a really morbid person, but think of the age of the universe, right?
Okay.
We're a long time dead. Our lifespans are between 0 and 100 years currently. If you look at the
I think it's 120 right now.
Whatever it is, like it's such a short time span. And there's a phrase that I can't remember the origin of where I read it, but someone once said that we're a long time dead.
True.
There was a long time before we were born that we were dead, that we were just in the ether of the universe, and when we die, there's a long time where we're not going to exist either. We have such a small, tiny, precious amount of time. Don't give in to the fear. Just go ahead and make what you want to do. Just let yourself be heard, and then to hell with it.
Yeah. And maybe that's the ultimate weapon against the fear of failure or the risk. You
Fear
talk
of
about
death and annihilation.
is realizing it's a journey. We all have disappointments. We all have failures. But to push ahead with it as a journey and to make sure we're doing things that we love.
Yeah.
So you obviously really love doing this film. If you spent that long, that many hours, and you took such a huge responsibility for all aspects of the film.
Yeah, I mean, to be honest with you, I can say all these things from kind of with a bit of perspective on the film, but it is a love-hate relationship with anything. Like with anything that you have a fiery passion for, you know, the downs are terrible and the highs are ecstatic. You know, so there are moments where I hate this, and there are moments where I really hated making a movie and really struggled. But then there's been moments of utter elation, like especially this is one of them when I can talk to two people and hopefully some people online that have nothing to do with the movie, had no interest in it, weren't part of it in any way, didn't know me from Joe over there or whatever, and who watch the movie and now ask me questions and say, oh, what happens next, or oh, I saw this bit, and it's pure creation. It transcends our mortal spirits and just like lets us.
In your heart.
Yeah, it's like you guys like Harry Potter?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm sure your viewers do as well. Hopefully, if they have good taste. It's making these films feels like making Horcruxes. Like I'm putting a part of my spirit and my soul and myself and my very essence. And going back to like this movie, like this, I'm happy with it, and it's it's commercial enough, and it's not a hard watch in terms of it's not navel gazing and overlong, but it's wacky. It's a wacky out there movie, and that's why I want to talk about, like, I compare it to the first Mad Max. If you watch it, George Miller was under very strenuous circumstances, and it's very goofy, and like his bad guys are called like Kundalini. They're all like yoga warriors, and there's a weird scene with like a saxophone. Like is that quote unquote good, or like a normal movie, like a normal 3-act structure kind of movie?
Yeah.
No, but it's all George Miller. It's all heart and spirit, and it's all him, and you're just seeing him up on screen there.
Yeah.
And that's what I hope, honestly, I've achieved with this. That it's idiosyncratic, it can be off-putting at times, it's jarring and then captivating and everything. It's who I am as a person. It's me up on screen.
Yeah, and I guess that's true of all art.
Yeah.
Not only film, but photography, writing, so many other
music
creations. Is people able to pour themselves into what they create?
And something that's very true is that every single type of art is subjective. Like you could like something, but I could not like it as much.
Yeah.
So it's pretty interesting. And then when you talk to people who didn't like the film that much, how do you react to it?
No one's had the balls to tell me to my face they don't really like my movie. No, I mean, I don't know.
I like it.
But you did say there's some people that have watched it more than once and get additional.
Yeah, no, I mean, I'm sure like this movie isn't for everyone.
Of course.
I hope some people love it, some people might not love it. That's it's not up to me. I've made it to the best of my abilities. Now it's up to people to decide if they like it. And we've gone to quite a lot of festivals. We've won quite a few awards and had way more nominations. So it seems to connect with people. So like I think I've done a good job.
Yeah.
I can't be objective about
Yeah,
that.
because you're the director, right?
Yeah.
And Mississippi, is this which number festival is on this one? We've gone to with this film.
Lost count now. Hold on. I think this is our 6th or 7th.
Interesting.
So where around the world has this played?
Oh, it's played in London, in fantastic Hailsham, England. Such a fantastic, amazing place. It's played in Nevada. It's played in LA. It's played over here in Miami. Where else is it? I think that was it. So wait, this is our 5th or 6th. I'm losing count, but we're talking to a couple more festivals right now who now I haven't approached. Now they've started approaching us.
Yeah.
But since it's not finalized, I can't say anything. Oh wait, sorry, there's one more. We're going to the SoCal Film Festival as well, so California. So yeah, I can't quite comment on that yet, but now it's starting to pick up momentum, and people are starting to kind of chase us more rather than us knocking down on their doors.
And do you have like any distribution rights right now, like for wider release or?
No, we've talked to people, and like with each festival we go to, we get better offers, and it's difficult, and there's choices that we could have made. We could have gone with some people so far, but for one reason or another, it didn't work out, and it's taken 4 years or 4.5 years to make the movie. The whole thing was a gamble. I'm just letting it ride now. See how far this crazy runaway with me train goes.
You're hoping that will get like a theatrical release and DVD.
No, realistically, like with the way the film landscape is, I don't think this is going to get a theatrical distribution. Technically, we made it so like we have a fantastic 5.1 sound mix by the awesome people at Sound Disposition in England. They're just magicians with audio. That's like the one thing I didn't do, like the sound mixing and the Foley recording and all that. They are absolutely brilliant. We have a 4K DCP, so once again, it's like digital cinema quality. Like most blockbusters that come out now don't do 4K because it takes ages to render and do all those visual effects, which I know firsthand, and that was just pure insanity. But so technically it's there, just we don't have any big movie stars. We have Bill Hutchins from the Human Centipede series. We have Rosie McPherson, who was in a lot of movies and TV shows. Like she was in Before I Go to Sleep with Nicole Kidman and Mark Strong. I think we have some other people. We have Bridget Miller, who was Inspector, the James Bond movie. And all that. We have Naomi Westerman, who was in Kingsman, the Secret Service, the Matthew Vaughn movie. But like, unless you get a really big film star, or you are a breakout hit like somewhere like Sundance and all that, it's just very difficult, especially for a genre movie, to get theatrical distribution. So I hope, technically we're there, and I hope the movie's good enough, but I'm just being realistic and kind of managing expectations.
I got a question for you. What you mentioned all the actors and actresses you had in the film. How did you, since this was your very first film, young first-time filmmaker, how do you get those actors and actresses interested in doing your film?
You offer them money.
Well, okay.
We didn't have.
Right.
But in all seriousness, I couldn't be happier with the cast, and especially Kai Loren as well, who shares a name with a Sith Lord, spelled differently though. He was absolutely fantastic in the movie as well. He totally transformed his body, like he did, like a full-on. Is there Formula One here? But Kylo Ren, our lead, like he really dedicated to the role. Like he's a very method actor, and he transformed his body. Like you see how ripped he is. Like in the beginning of the movie, like he did the whole thing, dehydration, like push-ups between takes. Like that guy has dedication. I'm so super happy with them. But because there's no like major film stars, then obviously like that makes it harder to get theatrical.
Yes. And are you hoping to because you already have the video game, but are you hoping to continue the story as a whole, like maybe the comic book series I think you mentioned earlier?
Yeah, that's a possibility. It depends on who picks up the movie and what kind of interest there is, and if people want more, there's more where that came from. It just depends on demand, and or maybe one day, I don't know, I might just go ahead and do it for shits and giggles anyway. Filmmaking technology is becoming cheaper and cheaper every day, and for the next phase of the story, something I've been looking into is actually performance capture, and we're starting to see I think he's a bit busy with Star Wars and Avengers and all that.
And Planet of the Apes.
Yeah, Planet of the Apes. But it's becoming more and more affordable. You're getting solutions that you can buy for like a couple of $1,000s, something called like inertial motion capture, where you don't normally, when you do motion capture, I don't know if you guys know this, you have a bunch of infrared cameras recording people with markers on them. You need to worry about like infrared pollution, have a controlled set and all that kind of stuff, and there's been very few manufacturers of these, so it's been very expensive. But now we're getting to a level where people are doing kind of Kickstarters with ones where you can just like wear. You don't need like a spandex suit. and all that, or like any special cameras. You could just like record onto an SD card and go. So
It's a bridge.
yeah. So yeah. So I'm looking into those kinds of avenues.
Nice. And you have any questions?
I don't. I think we've.
I think we've covered pretty much
Yeah, I
everything.
think
I think we have. So yeah, thanks. Oh wait, one more question. Where can we find the film? If you're if you're not in the film.
Okay, well, I mean, check out. Man, it's really loud. Let me just wait for the bells to go, and then
I think they want to.
can you add like a cut in there, like a fade or something? and then-
Yeah, revisit the name of the film, your
Yeah.
name as the director, and yeah.
So, if you guys want to check up on the movie or the video game, follow us on our official website. It's rawmmovie.com. So that's run away with me. rawmmovie.com. You're gonna add the title here, aren't you? Like this, like.
Yeah.
Yeah, there we go.
Yeah.
All right.
And,
yeah, I
you
can
can-
almost see it.
Yeah. Ooh, look, I'm pushing it down. You're gonna animate that, right? Yeah.
Maybe.
And yeah, you can check me out. You can find me on Instagram as Eren Ozkural. I'm gonna have to spell my fucking name out because I'm Turkish. It's a hard name. ERENOZK. You know what? No. You can just add that as a
Yeah.
graphic, like up on this corner. No.
Sure.
And-
Maybe I'll also leave a couple links down in the description.
Yeah,
below
please
as
do.
well.
And Twitter, it's my production company, Kino Trigger, KINO Trigger.com. And yeah, you guys have any questions or want to follow me? All for that.
Yeah, and then Instagram
Right,
as well.
maybe.
Instagram, yeah. Oh, and the video game you can buy on iOS in all territories, 99 cents. Get it now, kids.
That's great.
Yeah. And yeah, again, this is Daniel Mart with Eren
Eren Ozkural.
and Jody.
Yeah, Slagle. Yep. And thanks to our host.
Yeah,
Been
thanks, man.
wonderful.
Yo, what up? And yeah, again, remember to follow him. Do you have any social medias?
I'm on Facebook.
So no. Okay, whatever. So again, check out the film if it's available.
Yep.
If
If
but
not,
yeah.
buy the video game. Hey, come on.
Yeah, I mean the
99
video
cents.
game's probably the next best thing. So yeah, again, this is Daniel Mart signing off.